Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hang out with these nerds.
I'm Ted.
I'm Ryan.
And we had a viewer suggestion from Jeff
Heidke,
and he wants to know about adding P&B to his game, potions and brittle items.
If you have a GM 901 or a viewer suggestion, you can send those over to us at nerdarchy@gmail.com or over in the GM 901 section of our forums on nerdarchy.com.
So he's got actually two questions for us, and they kind of both pertain to items. One is adding potions of rest into his game to compensate for the Frenzied Berserker Barbarian's ability to get extra attacks at the cost of exhaustions.
Now, he got this idea from the Harry Dresden book, Full Moon, who made Super Coffee, and
kudos for the inspiration.
Yeah,
Yes,
basically
but
it's kind of like he makes a potion of haste out of like soda or coffee or whatever. But yeah.
But the problem is like that ability gets nerfed for a reason because it's really good.
Right.
That's why the cost. So, getting an extra attack is a really good thing, and being able to do it for a full combat, especially with the barbarian, if he gets it all the time, it becomes problematic. And I think at higher levels, that's also the barbarian that gets retaliation strike. Mm-hmm. And then, that's 4 attacks around, like a fighter. So, there's got to be a mitigating factor. I could be wrong and both barbarians get retaliation strike, mm-hmm. but I'm not positive.
But, like I said, that's put in there for a reason. It's to mitigate it. And like, I wouldn't be against making potions of rest. But like I would not
make them super common.
I would not make them super common. I wouldn't make it so like, oh, you can use this all the time, because it's supposed to be all right. You need to dip into this when it's your lives are on the line, not every single combat.
Not relying on it, yeah.
Right?
Unless you figure out a way to like deal with them being addicted to it, and then they're taking it when they're not frenzied, and then like it actually just makes them lethargic because they're too well rested. Yeah, so it actually creates fatigue when the situation, So, or no, too hopped up, and so maybe they have disadvantage on like perception checks because they're too twitchy.
Or he takes them so often he builds up a tolerance to them, so they're not as effective as they used to be. So
take 2.
It only works once a day or something like that. Maybe you can do some variations to find some middle ground. It depends too how often your character's using that ability as well. How many encounters are you running per session, per day? All those.
So we really fall into the camp of don't completely negate the drawback of doing the thing because it's powerful.
It's put in there for a reason.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's your game, do what you want. But if you're asking our advice, we probably wouldn't muck with it.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is he's created this concept of brittle items, brittle equipment, where it's somehow superior to regular equipment, except for it has the drawback if you on a natural 20, whether you're getting hit or you're hitting something. It destroys the item.
Oh yeah, it has. I don't remember the exact mechanics, but it's like if you hit with a weapon and you crit, or if you do.
With weapons, I think it's if you roll 5 or less.
Okay.
Then it breaks, and with the armor, I think it's like if it takes X number of damage.
15 plus damage.
Right. Then it brutally breaks.
Yeah, I thought there was a 20 in there somewhere. Like maybe if you hit with a weapon on a natural 20, it breaks too.
So regardless of what the mechanics are, what do we feel about the concept of items that have the ability to break?
Well, I'm for it if you make them cool. Like if you make it like if there's a reason to be in there, or if it's like, okay, this is essentially a trap, but then you wouldn't want to do it all the time as well.
Yeah, and like I would pretty much keep it to like 1s and 20s to keep the mechanics very simple, very streamlined. Of maybe you take a crit and you're wearing brittle armor, so it's gonna break. With weapons, maybe they do break on a 1 or 20, but the 20 maybe they deal like an extra d6 of like because it's like aggravated like shards of things going into places, and just keep the mechanics super streamlined and and easy to.
I mean, there's certain monsters like rust monsters that damage things over
a cumulative effect. Negative,
so you could even adopt that, like if it's armor or shield. Every time it has this effect, its effectiveness goes down by 1 until finally it's no good.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some ways you
precedent
can do it.
for that too.
But yeah, you know, if you're going to make things like that, I would try and make them interesting. You know, maybe they're made out of crystal or something cool.
And and there's a reason for why it is what it is.
Yeah, like it's crappy goblin manufacture stuff. So goblins lash together these like scimitars made out of teeth or bones or whatever, and they're sharpened, so they look cool, but they're super crappy. Is really what it comes down to. Or like really ancient and non-dwarven crafted armors that you find, ceremonial armors that again they look neat, but they were actually from this culture. They weren't meant to be taken into combat. They were just worn for parade purposes. Players like, oh, I'm gonna wear this and see what happens.
Yeah, I know it'd be cool about that too. If they decide to wear it and then it gets totally destroyed or damaged or whatever,
and they find out it was super valuable.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
it was like the king's ransom.
Yeah, like this one like institution would have paid like 15,000 gold for it to have it in their collection. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, as far as the brittle items, I would do them to be interesting, not just to be a jerk to your players.
Cultural pieces, sort of thing. Yeah.
You know, because I know, like in the email he talked about, you know, the rogue found better armor underneath a pile of bodies or whatever, straps it on, and then like, you know, gets nailed by a bunch of gnolls and it's disintegrated, almost dies. The rest of the party finds it hilarious. Good times were had by all.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe that's their style of play too. So, you know, how do I get you?
So, is there any other things on either the potion or the brittle items?
Well, from my point of view, I think we've covered it.
Yep, we got it.
All right, so what do you guys think out there? Do you have any other comments, suggestions, thoughts that we might not have touched on? Put them down below while you're at it. Like, share, even subscribe.
You can find us over on Twitter.
You can hang out with us on Facebook.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.